Chapter 334. The interior of the anti-demon fortress was very spacious. It was not that the first floor was big. In fact, the anti-demon fortress was hollow. Standing in the center of the bottom, one could see the second floor, the third floor, and the highest 4 floors. The edge of the corridor on each floor was surrounded by metal railings, so a huge cylinder could fill the interior of the anti-demon fortress. Speaking of the demon resistance fortress, I have to tell you about the origin of the blood demon battlefield. In fact, the blood demon battlefield is a space that was torn apart by someone. It has existed for a very long time, dating back to the ancient era. Walking on the metal floor, the young lady explained to Yi Chen. Yi Chen was astonished. A space that was torn apart by someone? As far as he knew, only life and death kings could tear apart space. Not to mention ordinary life and death kings, even Su King would not be able to do it. No, the disparity was not that big. Even 100 Su Kings would not be able to do it. This was already beyond the realm of life and death. It should be known that the blood demon battlefield was not smaller than a mid-sized country. One could destroy it, but it would be impossible to tear it out of its original space. What was certain was that the ancient era was very different from the world after the ancient era. At least, the level of the experts was different. In the ancient era, life and death kings could be found everywhere. However, after the ancient era, true spirit continent was ruled by life and death kings. It was impossible for existences beyond life and death realm to exist. The young lady continued, and these demon resistance fortresses were built from that time. They are the basis for humans to fight against the blood demons. As for the light barrier outside the fortress, it is a life and death realm light barrier. Using it to defend against high-grade blood demons is a waste of resources. There is no need to worry about it breaking, and there is no need to worry about the energy supply. It seems to be able to absorb energy automatically, and has never weakened. Life and death realm light barrier. Truly extravagant. Yi Chen clicked his tongue inwardly. If this light cover covered the sky above the Sky Cloud Martial School and the Yi family, no one below the life and death realm would be able to enter. Even normal life and death realm warriors might not be able to break through it. It would undoubtedly be an unimaginable safety guarantee. Of course, this was just a thought. Who would be able to move the light cover or the fortress to the outside world? The young lady pointed at the rooms on the first floor and said, the demon-defying fortress allocates the rooms according to the strength. The weakest ones can only stay on the first floor, which is usually for early astral reaching realm warriors. The second floor is for mid-astral reaching realm warriors, and the third floor is for late astral reaching realm warriors. The fourth floor is for peak astral reaching realm warriors. However, there are 3 demon-defying fortresses in total, so there might not be that many astral reaching realm warriors. Therefore, a lot of the rooms are empty. Yi Chen asked, the rooms are allocated based on strength. Do you decide it yourself? The young woman smiled, if you think you're strong enough to go to the second floor, then you can go. It's just that if you're really strong, then it's fine. If you're not, then you'll be blasted down and lose all face. So, in most cases, no one dares to try to climb up. This is interesting. Yi Chen rubbed his chin, thinking that it would not be a problem for him to stay on the 3rd floor, unless the people on the 3rd floor did not put Corpse Man and Jin Huang in their eyes. But, the 4th floor. It was a bit of a stretch. The Sword Elder was qualified enough to stay there. Boom. Just as the young woman was explaining some things about the fortress to Yi Chen, a person suddenly fell down from the 3rd floor, landing heavily on the ground. Ha! You're not strong enough, yet you still want to stay on the 3rd floor. You're looking for death. Next to the railing of the 3rd floor, a middle-aged man with a beard said with a cold expression. Pooh! The man puked out a mouthful of blood after landing on the metal floor. He stood up and ran away with a red face. I forgot to tell you. The young woman suddenly said, the rooms in the fortress have the effect of speeding up training. The first floor is the weakest, and the fourth floor is the most powerful. Therefore, the powerful warriors living on the second floor and above do not allow anyone to go over. If they do, they might be blasted down, or even killed. Fortunately, everyone is quite well behaved in the fortress, and killing is rare. After all, if it causes public anger, even powerful astral reaching realm warriors could be killed. It's not like it hasn't happened before. Yi Qin nodded. Although his battling power was quite powerful, if there were dozens of mid-astral reaching realm warriors attacking him, his life would still be in danger. Alright, thank you for telling me these things. I'm going to find a room to rest. Now that he had learned everything he needed to know, Yi Qin planned to rest for a while to recover his condition and body. The young woman laughed. I'm staying in room 96 on the first floor. The room next to mine is empty. Why don't you stay here? Oh right, my name is Su Lan. I wonder what your name is. In Su Lan's opinion, Yi Chen's Jin Yuan vibration was only at the peak level of early astral reaching realm, so he could only stay on the first floor. Yi Chen, I'm planning to go upstairs. Yi Chen pointed at the third floor. Su Lan did not see it clearly, so she thought Yi Chen was pointing at the second floor. She frowned. Although the training effect of the rooms on the second floor is quite good, what about you? Normally, a peak-level early astral reaching realm warrior would have a hard time winning against a mid-astral reaching realm warrior, since there would be a huge difference in both quantity and quality of Jin Yuan. Yi Chen did not explain anything as he started to walk towards the stairs. Ah! Be careful. Su Lan shook her head as she thought to herself, I am still too young after all. Newborn calves are not afraid of tigers. The higher the rank, the lower the possibility of a cross-realm battle. When she had reached the peak level early astral reaching realm, it was not that she did not want to go to the second floor, but she was still kicked out in the end. On the second floor, some of the mid-astral reaching realm warriors saw Yi Chen and were a bit surprised. However, they did not do anything too extreme, since a peak-level early astral reaching realm warrior had beaten a mid-astral reaching realm warrior before. Before understanding Yi Chen's true power, no one would dare to make any reckless moves. After a while, they would know whether he was a worm or a dragon. However, what shocked them was that Yi Chen did not stop at the second floor, but continued to walk towards the third floor. Is he crazy? The third floor is the place where late astral reaching realm warriors live. Even I would not dare to go up there. He is only a peak level early astral reaching realm warrior. He would be thrown out the moment he goes up. There would be no mercy at all. Perhaps he does not know the rules of the Demon Defiance Fort. Weren't we thrown out when we first came here? Let him suffer a bit. The warriors on the second floor were all waiting to see a joke. On the first floor, a lot of people were shocked, including Su Lan, who had not left yet. Her mouth was wide open as she forced a smile inwardly. I have said so much. Did he not listen to me at all? Or did he have some kind of confidence? Everything in the fort was made of metal. Walking on it made a crisp metallic sound. He had arrived at the third floor. Yi Chen stopped and looked around. If there are people living in the room, the gems on the door will shine. If the gems don't shine, it means there is no one living in it. Yeah, there is an empty room here. Under everyone's gaze, Yi Chen walked towards the number 12 room on the third floor. Brat, who allowed you to come up here? The middle-aged man with sideburns stood in front of the door. He crossed his arms in front of his chest, looking at Yi Chen coldly. Yi Chen was not afraid of his aura at all. Isn't the rule of the Demon Defiance Fort that you can choose your room according to your power? I am powerful enough to live on the third floor. You are powerful enough to live on the third floor. The bearded man seemed to have heard something funny, so he laughed out loud. His white teeth shone with a cold light. I will give you one chance. Piss off, otherwise, I will throw you down myself. Oh yeah? Make sure again. Yi Chen's voice turned cold. His green lotus Shin Yuan exploded violently, along with his almost completed sword intent. The surreal air started to shake. Pap! 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 The bearded man took 3 steps back. Yi Chen's green lotus Shin Yuan was of a high quality, but it was not the most important thing. The most important thing was that the latter's sword intent made him feel like he was suffocating. It was definitely more than 90% sword intent. No, it was close to completion. It was not that he had never encountered top astral reaching realm sword artists, such as the Blood Sword Artist, who was an extremely powerful existence. However, the latter's sword intent was still not as powerful as the former's. If the latter's sword intent gave him the feeling of a surging tide, then Yi Chen's sword intent gave him the feeling of a stormy sea, which made it hard for him to breathe. Do I have the right? Yi Chen looked at him coldly. The bearded man let out a heavy breath. Yes, I have. All right then. Yi Chen was not the kind of person who would look for trouble. He did not want to do anything to the bearded man, so he brushed past him and entered the number 12 room. Scary young generation. Scary sword artist. Waiting until Yi Chen disappeared from his sight, the bearded man wiped off the cold sweat on his forehead. Just for a second, he felt like he was about to die. Fortunately, he did not do anything too extreme. Otherwise, he would not be sure if the latter would kill him or not. None of the people who entered the Blood Demon battlefield were kind-hearted. This is the sword intent. It even scared a late astral reaching realm warrior. Su Lan's face was full of disbelief. In the beginning, she thought that Yi Chen was only a lucky young man who had not been devoured by the blood demon and managed to make it to the fort alive. She did not expect that she would be completely wrong. Yi Chen was not a normal young man at all. The power he contained was way beyond her expectation. Perhaps he has the power to leave the blood demon battlefield. Let's wait and see. Su Lan was excited as she thought to herself. Where did this young sword artist come from? How come I have never heard of him? This sword intent is even scarier than the top astral reaching realm sword artists. Yeah. We were all wrong. If he had a higher cultivation, it would not be impossible for him to enter the 4th floor. Everyone who had noticed this scene began to discuss among themselves. Closing the door, Yi Chen looked around and found that the rooms on the 3rd floor were quite spacious. They were well equipped, and there was even an independent training room. Arriving in front of the balcony, Yi Chen could see the scene outside the fort from where he stood. A lot of human warriors were entering and exiting, battling with the blood demons. Power is everything. I can see it everywhere. The blood demon battlefield is a good place. I will train until I reach the mid-astral reaching realm. After training in the top-ranked training room for a month, Yi Chen's Shin Yuan had already accumulated to the limit. He was only missing an opportunity to make a breakthrough. He believed that as long as the pressure was high enough, it would not be too hard to make a breakthrough. But, if there was no pressure, then he would have to follow suit. Chapter 335. The training rooms on the 3rd floor had a very good effect, almost as good as the training rooms in the martial city. According to his estimation, the training rooms on the 3rd floor would be equivalent to the high-rank training rooms in the martial city, and the 4th floor would be the top-rank ones. The only difference was that the training rooms in the martial city could increase the training speed because of the existence of the earth evulsion fire. However, the training rooms in the Demon Defiance Fortress were filled with a milky white light, which was very similar to the light cover of the fortress, giving people a warm feeling of being bathed in sunlight. Swish! Yi Chen sat on the ground with his upper body bare. The dried flesh on his back gradually swelled up, and a scarlet gas was released, which was then extinguished by the milky white light. The blood poison has finally been forced out. Slowly letting out a breath filled with the smell of blood, Yi Chen opened his eyes as sweat appeared on his forehead. The scariness of the blood demon battlefield was still beyond Yi Chen's expectations. The day before he obtained the 2 mid-grade artifacts, he had been attacked by 3 high-rank blood demons and dozens of mid-rank blood demons. The situation at that time was extremely dangerous, and the 9 green lotus sword chi in his body had been completely used up during the intense battle. Fortunately, his sword intent had the effect of killing the spirit. High-rank blood demon's spirit was originally rather chaotic, and could not compare to human experts at the same level. This was why Yi Chen had been able to kill them in one fell swoop. However, it was impossible for him to be completely unscathed. His back had been grazed by a high-rank blood demon, which had taken away a lot of blood and flesh. My battle power is still not enough to run amok in the blood demon battlefield. Although I have the streamlight armor, which has increased my defense a lot, once I encounter a peak high-rank blood demon, only my sword intent can be relied on. The sword intent had helped Yi Chen too much. Without it, Yi Chen would only be a top-grade martial genius, and there were at least 80 top-grade martial geniuses in the whole South Ruder region. Training in seclusion alone is not enough to increase my cultivation in a short period of time. I still need to fight bloody battles, and I need a frightening pressure. When my spirit is suppressed to the limit, it is not impossible for me to break through to the mid-astral reaching realm. Right now, Yi Chen had a basic understanding of what kind of life one had to go through in order to become a life and death realm warrior. It was like a steel wire that had to be stretched to its limit, yet not broken. Ordinary people would not be able to understand the feeling of being on the verge of death. I don't want to be mediocre, so let's challenge it. The 3 basic sword movements of the Green Lotus sword arts had been developed to the extreme by him, and their power was even more powerful than before. Pooh! 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 Like a hedgehog, Yi Chen tightened his body and shot out his spikes. Large amounts of blood demons were pierced by the sword chi and killed. Since when did such a frightening sword artist come to the fortress? He seems to be only at the peak of early astral reaching realm. You still don't know? Yesterday, he burst out a frightening sword intent, scaring a late astral reaching realm warrior on the 3rd floor. Sword artists are indeed powerful. Only after reaching the Sea of Souls realm can other martial artists gradually compete with sword artists. For now, sword artists are the peak attacking power. Not everyone stayed in the fortress. Many human warriors chose to team up and fight against the blood demons. Relying on their skillful cooperation, they were able to preserve their lives. Cut! Killing a large amount of blood demons, Yi Chen held his sword with both of his hands and waved out a sword light imprinted with the sky-opening green lotus. The sword light expanded to several hundred meters long, seeming to be able to split the whole world. All of a sudden, countless blood demons were cut in half, crushed into pieces by the aftershock of the sword light. They could no longer form their bodies, and their consciousness had completely dissipated. Little brother, let's team up. It will be safer with more people. A team of 7 or 8 people approached Yi Chen. Yi Chen glanced at them. You guys can just follow me. Alright, we can help you kill the blood demons behind you. These people didn't look dissatisfied, since their goal was to fight with the blood demons and gain experience from it. If they had a sword artist as powerful as Yi Chen, they wouldn't have to be afraid even if they ran into a powerful high-rank blood demon. The team moved further and further away, increasing the distance between them and the fortress by dozens of li. Since you're here, then stay. While everyone was killing excitedly, a surging blood-red light suddenly shot out from a nearby mountain peak. The blood-red light contained great power and dyed the surrounding air blood-red. A top high-rank blood demon. Behind Yi Chen, a person said with a trembling voice. You guys don't need to worry about it. Leave it to me. Yi Chen was indeed not a top astral reaching realm warrior, but it didn't mean that a top astral reaching realm warrior could kill him easily. What he needed was a bitter, bloody battle. Blood explosion spell. The Green Lotus Shen Yuan burned fiercely as the ace attack of the minor blood demon body separating great art was performed. Yi Chen's whole body was covered in a blood-red flame, looking like a blood flame war god. Hee hee, interesting. It can actually increase its battling power twice. But, in the hands of me, the battle-mad blood demon, it will still be hard for you to escape death. This blood demon was one of the top blood demons, and already had his own title. Of course, there were also differences among the top blood demons. In Yu Chen's eyes, the blood demon was only slightly more powerful than him, so there was nothing to be afraid of. Devouring blood spear, die. The battle-mad blood demon opened his right hand, and a blood-colored light ball condensed in his palm. The light ball stretched out, turning into a blood-red spear. Shoo! The blood-red spear pierced through the air, creating a thin vacuum tunnel. Green Lotus Mountain, break! With his sword intent exploding to its limit, Yu Chen's sword landed heavily on the blood-red spear. Pang! The power contained in the long spear was unimaginable, and Yu Chen was blown back by it. However, something surprising happened. The moment Yu Chen's blood-red sword light touched the long spear, the latter suddenly started to burn, and its power started to decrease rapidly. What? The battle-mad blood demon was shocked. Yu Chen's Jin Yuan had ignited his devouring blood spear. It should be known that there were a lot of Jin Yuan that could suppress blood demons, such as Fire Jin Yuan, which could evaporate blood demon Jin Yuan, and Thunder Jin Yuan. But, he had never seen anyone's Jin Yuan being able to ignite blood demon Jin Yuan. Retreat! The battle-mad blood demon was a bit scared. He was only at the bottom of the top blood demons, and it was obviously impossible for him to kill Yu Chen. A top blood demon was beaten away. Teaming up with him is indeed a good thing. I don't have to worry too much about being devoured by the blood demons. Fighting was one thing, but life was another. If not for Yu Chen, they would not have left the fort too far, and would have only been fighting with the blood demons nearby. That way, they would be able to enter the light cover as soon as they encountered danger, but the rewards would be less. For example, during the dozens of li journey, they had obtained more than 10 low-rank weapons, all of which were left behind by the dead human warriors. They had given almost half to Yu Chen, so each of them could have one. Not to mention the battle experience they had gained from fighting. Days passed by, and Yu Chen would go out to fight every day. The number of people following him had gradually increased, and everyone knew that Yu Chen could suppress the blood demons. The threat he posed to the blood demons was equivalent to that of a top astral-reaching realm warrior. On this day, 2 people had arrived at the demon resistance fort. They were indeed Taoist Jin Huang and the Rock Elder. After blowing away an astral-reaching realm warrior who had come to trade for food, Taoist Jin Huang stepped into the fort. He gathered his Jin Yuan and yelled, "Yu Chen, get the fuck out and face your death. Today, I will personally end your dog life." Taoist Jin Huang's full-power roar was extremely powerful. His voice echoed throughout the fort. What is going on? Someone wants to kill Yu Chen. Isn't that the core master of the floating mountain martial school, Taoist Jin Huang? Everyone was discussing. Inside the room, Yu Chen heard Taoist Jin Huang's roar. His face was expressionless as he took out the Star Scar sword from his storage ring and wore it on his waist, then pushed open the door. Taoist Jin Huang, you are finally here. Chapter 336. With a flicker of his body, Yu Chen appeared on the first floor from the 3rd floor. Arrogant brat, accept your death. The moment Yu Chen landed, Rock Elder pulled out his thunder blade. Lightning filled the air, and electric snakes danced chaotically. A berserk arc-shaped blade chi swept towards Yu Chen like a flood dragon out of the sea, sweeping everything in its path. Whoosh! Yu Chen was already prepared. His body erupted with cyan flames. He took a step forward, and the Star Scar sword was unsheathed. The sword light imprinted with the mountain-cleaving green lotus carried a frightening sword intent as it rushed out with an even more berserk power. At this moment, even the air in the fortress was twisted. Kacha! Rock Elder was merely a slightly more powerful late astral reaching expert. He couldn't even compare to Corpse Man. Although Yi Chen hadn't used the minor blood demon body separating great art and had merely ignited his Jin Yuan, it was enough. As matters stood, even Daoist Jin Huang wasn't worthy of him going all out. The flood dragon blade chi slashed out by Rock Elder seemed to have its head chopped off, dispersing upon contact. The remaining sword chi fiercely attacked his protective Jin Yuan. Rock Elder turned pale with fright. His left hand blocked the sword chi. With a swishing sound, his palm was drenched in blood. The Jin Yuan within his body was impacted by the sword chi, flowing in reverse. He couldn't help but spurt out a mouthful of blood, and his entire body was shot backward. One move, and Rock Elder was heavily injured. How is this possible? How could he have become so powerful? Daoist Jin Huang instantly appeared behind Rock Elder, wanting to catch him. However, in the next moment, his face turned red and white. The flying Rock Elder was no different from a speeding mountain. No matter how much Daoist Jin Huang mustered his Jin Yuan, he couldn't forcibly catch him. He could only drift along with the flow, his feet rubbing against the metal floor as he slid backward. Daoist Jin Huang, from the day you came to the Sky Cloud sect, you were destined to die under my sword. Today, between you and me, only one can leave the fortress. Die. As soon as the word die came out, a sword light flickered in front of Yi Chen. Countless sword chi pervaded the air, radiating toward Rock Elder and Daoist Jin Huang. Sixth Elder, save me. Looking at the densely packed sword chi, the Rock Elder lost all of his courage. He said to Daoist Jin Huang in terror. Right now, only Daoist Jin Huang could temporarily save his life. Old Yen, I will avenge you. An ice-cold expression flashed across Daoist Jin Huang's face as he firmly grabbed onto the Rock Elder's constantly struggling body. With so much sword chi, even if he was wearing a mid-grade armor, he still didn't dare to act blindly without thinking. He could only let the Rock Elder block in front of him and eliminate this calamity for him. Pu 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 pu, ding 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 ding, the sound of sword chi piercing through flesh rang out continuously. Accompanying it was the sound of metal colliding. That was the sound of sword chi cutting through the mid-grade armor on the Rock Elder's body. Other than his torso, Rock Elder's limbs and head were chopped into meat paste by the sword energy. Blood mist exploded and dyed the ground red. Bang! Throwing aside the Rock Elder, Daoist Jin Huang resentfully said, Yi Chen, you dared to kill my floating mountain sect's inner sect elder. Do you know that you have committed a capital crime? Nobody can save you. My floating mountain sect's Sea of Soul realm experts can flatten Sky Cloud sect with a single palm strike. Daoist Jin Huang, no matter how eloquent you are, you won't be able to escape death today. If floating mountain sect dares to act blindly without thinking, I will destroy them in the future. How could Yi Chen let Daoist Jin Huang go? His star-scar sword slashed out a sword light. Clang! Sparks flew everywhere, and cracks appeared in the vacuum. Unknowingly, a thick metal shield had appeared in Daoist Jin Huang's hand. Fine electric currents flickered on the shield, containing a powerful magnetic force. The sword light only left a shallow mark on its surface. Of course, the metal shield was fine, but it didn't mean that Daoist Jin Huang was fine. Blood flowed out of his 7 apertures, clearly bearing a part of the impact. At this moment, face was no longer important. He hastily shouted, Everyone, whoever helps me kill Yi Chen will be heavily rewarded by the floating mountain sect. Outer sect elder, inner sect elder, pellets, manuals, everything can be promised to you. If I, Daoist Jin Huang, deceive you, I will not have a good death. What? Daoist Jin Huang wants us to kill Yi Chen. Should we do it or not? Being an elder of Floating Mountain sect means an unimaginable amount of resources. At the very least, we can obtain some precious pellets or manuals. Fuck, let's do it. With so many of us attacking together, no matter how strong Yi Chen is, he will still die. It's like a meat pie falling from the sky. Hearing these words, many people were tempted. On the second floor of the Demon Defiance Fortress, dozens of Jin Yuan streams bombarded Yichen. Caught off guard, Yichen dodged 7 or 8 Jin Yuan streams, but the remaining ones bombarded his body. Fortunately, he was wearing the streamlight armor, and the strength of his protective Jin Yuan was no different from a late astral reaching expert's. Moreover, the second floor was filled with mid-astral reaching experts, who couldn't tear apart his protective Jin Yuan. Even so, Yi Chen's expression was exceptionally gloomy. Filled with killing intent, he glanced in the direction of the incoming Jin Yuan streams, imprinting the latter's figure in his mind. Brothers, let's go. If we kill Yi Chen, Floating Mountain Sect will certainly reward us handsomely. Being stared at by Yi Chen, the leader of the group felt his hair stand on end. He was sure that once the latter had the time to attack, he would certainly be killed. In order to preserve his life, for the bounty of Floating Mountain Sect, he could only incite the others to attack Yi Chen together. Only by killing him could he feel at ease. Fuck, who dares to attack? Who dares? Although we, Red North Duo, are not that strong, whoever dares to attack Yi Chen will not rest until one of us is dead. Right at this moment, the astral reaching experts who had gone out to kill with Yi Chen a few days ago stood out one after another. Each and every one of them had bloodshot eyes, which was the result of fighting for a long time. Some astral reaching experts who were tempted but had yet to act retreated. The current situation was rather chaotic. Once a great battle broke out, not more than 10% of the people would be able to walk out alive. There was no need to wade in these muddy waters. Yi Chen gave them a deep glance, including Su Lan, who had struggled for a long time before standing out. He said in a loud voice, "Everyone's help, Yi Chen is eternally grateful. As long as I don't die in the future, don't hesitate to look for me if you need any help. I can guarantee that within 5 years, whatever Floating Mountain Sect, nothing will enter my eyes. Yi Chen, we're not helping you for your return. Otherwise, how different would we be from these people? Kindness must be repaid, and enmity must be repaid. You've saved us many times in the past few days, but you didn't take all of our harvest. I can guarantee that if we don't stand out and watch you being humiliated, then what's the point of cultivating martial arts? What's the point of cultivation? We might as well go home and farm." "That's right. Yi Chen, don't worry. We'll take care of this." Daoist Jin Huang's lungs almost exploded from anger. Pointing at the astral reaching experts, he said, "Each and every one of you will die. I, Daoist Jin Huang, swear that you will die miserably. You won't have the chance." Yi Chen roared, activating the minor blood demon body separating great art. The cyan flame outside his body was dyed cyan red. The opponent had a shield that contained magnetic power. If he didn't go all out, he wouldn't be able to kill him in a short period of time. Yi Chen didn't want to cause any problems, so he immediately burst out with all of his battle power. Green Lotus Accumulation. A fist-sized red lotus condensed in front of the Star Scar sword. Following Yi Chen's slash, the green lotus tore through the air and heavily collided with the metal shield like a thunderbolt. Creak. The metal shield slightly twisted and flew out of his hand. As for Daoist Jin Huang, the bones in his left arm were broken inch by inch. The fierce power transmitted from his arm to his body, causing him to spurt out a huge amount of blood. Die! Striking while the iron was hot, Yi Chen slashed out with his sword. All of a sudden, a cold blade chi shattered Yi Chen's sword chi. From the 4th floor of the Demon Defiance Fortress, a middle-aged man with a cold expression jumped down. "Enough. You've already killed one. There's no need to kill him as well. It's better to leave a way out." This middle-aged man's blade chi was swift and fierce, and his blade intent crisscrossed. He was a blade artist Yi Chen had never seen in his life. In terms of strength, he was not below the Sword Elder. Not good. It's one of the 7 great blade artists, Ice Blade. One of the Red North duo furrowed his brows. Ice Blade's cultivation base has reached late astral reaching realm, and his blade intent has also comprehended more than 90%. I'm afraid Yi Chen will be at a disadvantage against him. I don't understand why he would make a move. I've never seen him do this before. I heard that Ice Blade once received benefits from an inner sect elder of Floating Mountain sect. There's such a thing. Seeing the sudden change in the situation, Daoist Jin Huang spurted out a mouthful of turbid blood and said with great joy, Ice Blade, this kid is extremely arrogant. He killed my assistant, Elder Rock. I hope you can lend a hand. Bang! As he spoke, a golden light ball condensed on Daoist Jin Huang's fingertip and shot toward Yi Chen with a swish. The golden light ball exploded, and the aftermath caused Yi Chen's protective Zhen Yuan to distort. Dodging the center of the explosion, Yi Chen slashed at Daoist Jin Huang with all his strength. Pang! The sword chi shattered, and Ice Blade, holding his treasured blade, said indifferently, I told you, it's better to leave a way out. You're so young, so why be so sinister? Ice Blade, no need to speak nonsense. Kill him. With Ice Blade here, Daoist Jin Huang could attack as he pleased. Golden light balls bombarded Yi Chen one after another. If not for the demon resistance fort being exceptionally hard, it would have long been overturned. His protective Zhen Yuan shattered, and Yi Chen was sent flying. A trace of blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth as he said in a cold voice, You dare to stop me? If not for Ice Blade shattering his sword chi, Daoist Jin Huang wouldn't have been able to injure him. Daoist Jin Huang can't die. Ice Blade's expression was cold. Every time Yi Chen attacked, he would shatter his sword chi. As for Daoist Jin Huang's attacks, he didn't care at all. Ha, Yi Chen, it seems like this day next year will be your death anniversary. Daoist Jin Huang's left arm was completely shattered, and he waved his right arm repeatedly. Golden light balls shot out one after another, attacking toward Yi Chen. Blood Explosion Art. Although Blood Explosion Art could only restrain blood demons and was the technique Blood Demon used to subdue blood demons, compared to the minor Blood Demon Body Separation Art, the amplification of battle power was 10% higher, reaching 30%. This was the limit of Yi Chen's battle power. Activating Blood Explosion Art, the green-red flame around Yi Chen's body became even brighter. A surging aura radiated out in all directions like a hurricane. Green Lotus Sky. As the sword was waved out, the air became like a lake, turning into a deathly stillness. It enveloped Daoist Jin Huang and Ice Blade, and patches of green lotuses spread out in the void. Chapter 337. Do you know the consequences of fighting with me? Ice Blade ignored Yi Chen's sword attack as he put his left hand behind his back and said word by word. Yi Chen said, if people don't mess with me, I won't mess with them. Since you have messed with me, then I don't need to reason with you. Kill. Activating the Zhen Yuan on the sword, all the green lotuses in the air transformed into sword chi, shooting towards the Ice Blade and Daoist Jin Huang. How could Jin Huang block so many sword chi attacks? He hurried to pick up the metal shield on the ground and defended with all his strength. With only his right hand left, he did not even have the chance to fight back. Blood dripped from the corner of his mouth as his body shook violently. Seal. The Ice Blade had attacked. His name was Han Kong, and because he had trained the ice element Zhen Yuan, his blade art poetic perspective was also of the ice element. Therefore, all the warriors in the world called him the Ice Blade. Right then, Han Kong had thrown out his attack. The blade light was hazy, and the cold chi spread out in all directions, freezing Yi Chen's sword movement and poetic perspective. Cold light flash. Ice Blade changed his stance again, throwing out a blade attack towards Yi Chen. Ka la la. The frozen air split open like a huge crack on a frozen lake. The sharp blade radiance swept through everything in its path, destroying everything in its path. Green Lotus Light. Pointing out his left hand towards Jin Huang, Yichen blocked it with his sword. Ah! Jin Huang screamed. His right arm was cut off at the shoulder, falling onto the ground along with his metal shield. Blood splashed everywhere. How many sword chi attacks can you block for him? Yichen backed out under the attack of the blade light. He was talking to Ice Blade. It turned out that he had shot out a beam of sword chi, intending to kill Jin Huang. Ice Blade had discovered his intention, so he formed a palm blade with his left hand and cut the sword chi in half. However, the green lotus sword chi inside Yichen's body could be both hard and soft. It could be as hard as a great sword, and soft as a finger. Ice Blade's palm blade had only cut off part of the green lotus sword chi's power. The rest of the sword chi went around Jin Huang's shield and cut off his right arm. Ice Blade squinted his eyes slightly and said in a low voice, "You will die after killing him. You can try. Is that so? Let's see how you kill me." Yichen sneered. He opened his left hand and 5 beams of blue lotus sword chi shot out from his fingers. These 5 beams of sword chi formed a straight line, moving as fast as lightning. Some of them were in the shape of a half moon, drawing a stunning arc in the air. Some of them were like thin strips of cloth, without any trace at all. Impudent! You will die today. Once the green lotus sword chi appeared, Ice Sky realized that he could not destroy all of them no matter what he did. At most, he could only destroy 4 of them. The remaining 2 could still kill Daoist Jin Huang. Even so, he still went up to block it. The great blade in his hand was swung out at a speed that was invisible to the naked eye, spreading out layers of cold blade light. Chi! Chi! Ice Sky had overestimated himself, and underestimated the unpredictable power of the green lotus sword chi. Out of the 5 green lotus sword chi, one of them had perfectly avoided the blade light and went through Jin Huang's head, leaving a finger-sized bloody hole. The other one had been scratched by the blade light, and its power had been greatly reduced. It then stabbed right into Jin Huang's chest. Bang! Jin Huang's chest exploded. His body was like a broken sack as he fell on the gate of the fortress, no longer breathing. After killing Jin Huang, Yichen felt like there was a small chain in his heart that had been broken. It was the inner demon that Jin Huang had brought to Yichen. Now that Jin Huang was dead, the inner demon had naturally disappeared, and could no longer affect Yichen. Kill! Ice Sky's expression was very bad. Jin Huang's death was not that important, but being killed right in front of him was like a slap in his face. Without any nonsense, he held his blade with both of his hands, raised it high above his head, and hacked down. Rumble! The air in the fortress was suddenly pushed out completely, making everyone feel like they were suffocating. In the next second, the blade light, which was as tall as the fortress and a couple of meters wide, hacked down heavily. Because of the limited space, the blade light first made contact with the inner structure of the fortress, bringing up a teeth-aching metal exploding sound. Only then did the blade light attack towards Yichen. Green Lotus Mountain. It was Yichen's first time facing a top astral-reaching realm warrior, so he did not dare to be careless. His nerves were stretched tight, and the Zhen Yuan inside his body poured into the Star Scar sword like a tide. A sword light that was not any smaller than the blade light and had a huge green lotus engraved on it shot out like lightning. Go back to your room. The battle between the two was too loud. Seeing the power of the blade light and the sword light, the astral-reaching realm warriors with faster reactions hurriedly rushed back to their rooms and shut their doors. The others with slower reactions smiled bitterly and pushed their protective Zhen Yuan with all their strength. Dang! The blade light was like a blade used by a giant, while the sword light was like a sky-opening great sword. The two clashed together, and layer after layer of shockwaves spread out, filling up the entire fortress. Creak! At first, it was a slightly weaker astral-reaching realm warrior whose protective Zhen Yuan had been twisted. Then, a series of twisting noises were heard. Most of the warriors had pale faces, and their eardrums were ringing. Only a small number of late astral reaching realm warriors were able to take on the shockwaves head-on. Before they could catch their breaths, an even more powerful shockwave exploded out. The only exit was the gate of the fortress. A couple of meters thick light wave shot out. If the fortress was made of normal metal, it would have been shattered instantly. A lot of people puked out blood. No. Let's use this chance to go back to our rooms. The battle between top astral reaching realm warriors was extremely destructive. If they used all of their power, even early astral reaching realm warriors might be shaken to death. Of course, attacking together would be a different story. Dozens of Jin Yuan streams would be thrown out, and even a top astral reaching realm warrior would not be able to handle it. His feet rubbed on the ground as Yi Qin slid out dozens of meters. Ice Sky was a bit more powerful than Yi Qin. He backed out 7 or 8 steps, looking at Yi Qin coldly. I admit that your battling power is already close to the top astral reaching realm warriors. But, the gap is still the gap, and it will never be made up. Take one of my attacks. Cold Light Break. This time, Ice Sky's blade light was even brighter, containing the ice mentality that could freeze everything. At the astral reaching realm, after digging out all of the potential of the martial arts, the only thing left would be the mentality. If the mentality was powerful enough, then the power of the martial arts would be endless. A cracking sound was heard as the inside of the fortress was covered in frost. The frost was getting thicker and thicker, turning the fortress into a world of ice. Sky-shattering clouds. An eye-piercing electric light exploded, and countless electric snakes shot out in all directions before exploding. Facing the ice mentality, Yi Qin used the thunder cloud mentality that he was best at. The thunder cloud mentality was based on the cloud mentality, and the thunder mentality was used as a supplement, so its form was based on the thunder mentality. The thunder and the ice clashed together, causing electricity and ice shards to shoot out continuously. Thunder mentality? No, there is another mentality inside. Ice Sky frowned as he pushed his body art, rushing toward Yi Qin. Ding! 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 Dang! The two moved around, sword light and blade light flying everywhere. From time to time, they would fight from the first floor to the second floor, then from the second floor to the third and fourth floor. The whole fortress was filled with the two's figures. Ice World. Being in midair, Ice Sky waved down his blade. Within the ice mentality, there was the snow mentality. The temperature inside the fortress dropped to the extreme. Green Lotus accumulation. Break. The Green Lotus sword art contained the mentality of wood and the mentality of water. The Green Lotus accumulation was the second half of the 7th movement, which only contained the mentality of wood. However, the Green Lotus sword art was very special. It was obviously a mentality of gentleness, but when it was used, it had the characteristic of being indestructible. Crack. The Blue Lotus was frozen, but it soon broke through the icy light. The concept of wood was extremely tenacious, it could break through earth and ice. Only the concept of metal could restrain the concept of wood. However, because Cold Sky's Jin Yuan was too vigorous, the Blue Lotus eventually lost its strength. Shoo! Shoo! Jumping back a couple of times, Yi Qin avoided Ice Sky's blade light. He looked down and saw that a large part of his chest was covered in frost. The good thing was that he was wearing the light armor. Otherwise, that blade attack would have frozen his chi and blood, which would greatly decrease his power. The top astral reaching realm warriors are indeed not to be underestimated. I have to finish the battle quickly and beat them back. Burning my Jin Yuan and using the blood explosion spell at the same time is too damaging for my body. Right then, Yi Chen's body was like a piece of porcelain, looking like it could shatter at any second. It was still because he had trained the pure jade body boosting spell and had been trained by the sky demon flower. His body was no weaker than the top astral reaching realm warriors. Otherwise, he would not be able to last this long. This secret martial art of yours should be the minor blood demon body separating great art of the blood demon master, right? Unfortunately, you do not have a blood demon doppelganger. Otherwise, I would not be able to do anything to you in a short period of time. Ice Sky was confident that he could beat Yi Chen, or even kill him. But it would take a lot of attacks, since the gap between the two was not that big. The blue and red flame was burning fiercely. Yi Chen took a deep breath. The star scar sword in his hand seemed to have become heavier as he lifted it up slowly. Green lotus sprout. Who? As he waved out his sword, the sword wind started to howl. The blue intent spread out, and the water-like sword light was extremely cold. Your most powerful ace attack. Then take my ice river pressure. Ice Sky yelled. He could tell that Yi Chen did not have the power to continue battling anymore. This attack would be able to beat him completely. After that, his life would be in his hands. Boom! The two's most powerful attacks clashed. The ice mentality and the wood mentality were fighting against each other. The blade light and the sword light clashed. However, what made Ice Sky feel bad was that Yi Chen's sword light had been weakened from its peak to its peak, and then to its peak again. It was like the little grasses that had withered in the winter, and then started to grow again in the spring. It was as if they had broken through the ice and sprouted. Yi Chen looked at Ice Sky coldly. This was the 8th movement of the Green Lotus Sword Art. As a top of the top-rank Earth Realm Sword Art, the 8th movement's power was way more powerful than the 7th movement. The poetic perspective was even more incomparable. Up until now, he had only mastered 80% of its essence. Chapter 338. Crack. Yi Chen's sword light's power had been pushed to its limit while Ice Sky's blade light started to dim down. Even though he was more powerful than Yi Chen, his protective Jin Yuan layer had still been broken through. He puked out a mouthful of blood as his body was blown away. It's not over yet. Green Lotus Sky. The 8th movement of the Green Lotus Sword Art was the same as the 7th movement. It was also divided into the first half and the second half, which could be separated. Before, Yi Chen had only performed the first half, but now, he had performed the second half. The power of the sword light expanded at a horrifying speed, heavily smashing towards Ice Blade, who was still flying backwards. This sword attack, I will remember it. Ice Blade was bleeding from all 7 of his orifices as a deep sword mark appeared on his chest. The next time we meet, it will be the time to kill you. Weren't you acting all high and mighty? You are nothing special. If it were not for the fact that his body was under too much pressure, Yi Chen would have attacked him even more fiercely. That dignified attitude of his made him feel disgusted. You. Very good. Ice Blade, will kill you for sure. Ice Blade's face turned green. This time, he had not been able to save his people, and he had been defeated as well. The mental humiliation had even weakened his blade intent a bit. His body shot out of the ground like a hawk, flying out of an empty room and out of the fortress. After a couple of flashes, he disappeared without a trace, giving people a feeling of being able to come and go as he pleased. Who? Letting out a heavy breath filled with the smell of blood, Yi Chen extinguished his Jin Yuan and released the blood explosion spell that had been burning his qi and blood. Without taking out the medicinal power, Yi Chen directly swallowed a small piece of blood sunflower petal, chewed it up, and swallowed it down. Ice Blade has been defeated. Seeing that there was no more movement, most of the people walked out of the room, including the dozens of people who had attacked Yi Chen. With a glare, Yi Chen threw out 5 sword attacks towards them, crisscrossing them. Screams were heard. The dozens of people did not even have the chance to react before they were dismembered immediately. They asked for it. The situation was not clear yet, and they had already attacked. Waiting for the enemy to turn the tables, it would be strange if they were spared. Exactly. No matter how good the rewards from the Floating Mountain Martial School are, you need to be alive to get them. many people discussed in low voices. Yuchen cupped his fists towards the Red North duo and the other astral reaching experts. Everyone, words cannot express my gratitude. Let me recuperate first, then we can all drink together. Alright, we'll wait for you. The Crimson North duo laughed. In the cultivation room filled with milky white light, Yuchen was only wearing a pair of shorts as he sat cross-legged. After a long time, he slowly opened his eyes. This milky white light can not only speed up the training, but also has a great effect on the recovery of injuries. It seems that the anti-demon fortress is a base that integrates defense, training, and healing, and its auxiliary function is very powerful. As his injuries were more or less healed, Yuchen took out a sky demon flower petal from his storage ring. The petal seemed to be made of gold, yet not gold, like jade, yet not jade, and was extremely heavy. A palm-sized petal weighed 50 to 60 jin. Its surface was covered in deep and mysterious patterns, which seemed to contain the essence of martial arts. With a single glance, one could sink into it. Unfortunately, Yuchen did not walk the demonic path, but the sword path. Otherwise, he would have been able to study it. After entering the astral reaching realm, my body quality has improved by quite a bit, but it is still far from reaching the limit. Once I reach the limit, I will be one step closer to the astral reaching paragon. Yuchen was very clear that the Sea of Soul realm was not something that could be achieved just by saying. He only had a 50% chance of entering the Sea of Soul realm within 5 years. However, with his current speed of improvement, he would soon become a peak astral reaching expert. And, above the peak astral reaching experts, there would certainly be extreme astral reaching experts. The so-called extreme astral reaching experts were those who had reached the limits of astral reaching experts in all aspects. Moreover, ordinary people would never be able to reach this level. It was not that they were lacking in talent, but in resources. In order to become an extreme astral reaching expert, the martial arts that one cultivated had to be at the top rank Earth realm, and they had to reach an extremely high realm. Secondly, they had to have mid-grade defensive artifacts and mid-grade offensive artifacts, and their mentalities had to reach an extreme. In addition, their cultivation base had to be at the peak of late astral reaching realm. None of the 4 conditions could be missing. But of course, there would not be that many people who could actually become extreme astral reaching realm warriors. The last condition was still manageable, but the first 3 would be too difficult. How could normal astral reaching realm warriors have top rank Earth realm martial arts? Only rank 6 martial institutions would have them. If others wanted to learn it secretly, it would be suicide. Since they could not learn it secretly, then they would have to find some amazing opportunities. In some ancient ruins, it was not impossible to find top-rank Earth realm martial arts, just like how Yuchen had found the Flow Rudra 3 mysterious spell in the Goat Head Mountain, which allowed him to increase his separating shadow art to the top-rank Earth realm. Then, he had found the top-rank Earth realm Green Lotus Sword spell in the Hidden Dragon secret realm. Since he could get it, then someone else would be able to get it as well. However, the chance was extremely low, and there would not be many people in the whole South Rudra region. Even having top-rank Earth realm martial arts would not be enough. If one's talent and comprehension were too low, then it would be a waste of top-rank Earth realm martial arts. There might be people who had trained top-rank Earth realm martial arts, but it would not be as good as mid-rank Earth realm martial arts. At least, with a lot of time, they would be able to train the mid-rank Earth realm martial arts to the highest level. After satisfying the cultivation and martial arts, the great weapons would also be indispensable. Great weapons were just worldly possessions, and one could not doubt their usefulness. Having a handy great weapon was even more important than training a powerful martial art. This was also the reason why a lot of people would risk their lives to enter the blood demon battlefield to try their luck. Lastly, it would be the mentality. Mentality could be learned from martial arts, or it could be learned by oneself. Regardless of which one it was, it would all lead to the same destination in the end. One would need to understand the nature of nature. After reaching the astral reaching realm, under the same conditions, it would be the mentality that mattered. For example, this time, Yi Chen had relied on the mentality of the 8th movement of the Green Lotus sword art to turn the tide and beat Ice Blade. In terms of real battling power, he was still slightly weaker than his opponent. Of course, if they were to fight again, Yi Chen did not think that he would be the opponent of Ice Blade. Before, the latter did not understand the power of the 8th movement and chose to fight with brute force. In fact, if he had avoided the attack first, then it would be Yi Chen who would have lost. Who would have known that Yi Chen's sword light could go from weak to strong? Under such circumstances, as long as one's power was not insanely powerful, one would lose. I won by luck. But, the Ice Blade has already understood the mystery of the Green Lotus sprout. In the next battle, I can't just rely on this movement. I have to increase my own cultivation. Currently, Yi Chen had almost reached the limit of his martial arts. He also had a mid-rank defensive weapon, and his mentality was close to the limit. Most importantly, he still had the Immortal sword intent. In other words, as long as he reached the mid-astral reaching realm, Yi Chen would be one of the top astral reaching realm warriors. Once he reached the peak level of mid-astral reaching realm, he would be an extreme astral reaching realm warrior. This was the advantage of being a sword artist, and his advantage was even bigger than normal sword artists. The Sea of Souls realm is still far away from me. Right now, I will focus on dominating the astral reaching realm. Yi Chen had a huge ambition. He wanted to become the most powerful astral reaching realm warrior, the most invincible one, just like how he had dominated the clasping Yuan realm before. But, the difference was that back then, there was still Xikong Sheng chasing after him. This time, he wanted to completely dominate the astral reaching realm and kill all of the astral reaching realm warriors within seconds. Otherwise, it would be a waste for him. Shoo! 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 After absorbing the heavenly demonic flower's medicinal power, Yi Chen's bones, flesh, blood, and qi and blood underwent a small strengthening. During the strengthening process, some stinky impurities were expelled. As soon as they came in contact with the milky white light, they were immediately annihilated, disappearing without a trace. 3 days later, on the metal floor of the Demon Defiance Fortress, everyone had gathered together to barbecue and drink. Here, everyone give it out. Yi Chen took out a large amount of wine from his storage ring. These wine bottles were placed in a wooden chest, making a total of 12 chests. Ha, this is the Black Dragon Empire's top-notch wine. It's also good for cultivation. Many of them hadn't left the Blood Demon battlefield for a long time. Smelling the enticing wine fragrance, they couldn't wait to open the cork and gulp it down. Yi Chen laughed, I have a lot of wine here. Everyone, drink as much as you want. Red North twin warriors were a pair of sworn brothers. The two grabbed meat with one hand and drank with the other. Yi Chen, I didn't expect Ice Blade to be beaten away by you. He is one of the top 7 astral reaching realm blade artists, and the 7 blade artists are just as famous as the top 10 astral reaching realm sword artists. They are all top astral reaching realm warriors in the whole South Rudra region. Luck. If he comes again, I won't be his opponent anymore. Hee, his injuries are not light. Even if he comes again, he won't be your opponent. Plus, if he comes again, he won't dare to be so arrogant. Ice Blade's actions that day were indeed not kind. Even if an inner master of the Floating Mountain Martial School had an old relationship with him, he shouldn't have only targeted Yi Chen and let Daoist Jin Huang attack him as much as he wanted. Everyone had long since seen him as an eyesore. He looked cold, but did not have a noble heart. Let's not talk about him. Who wants to leave the Blood Demon battlefield? I will take him out. Before entering the Blood Demon battlefield, Yi Chen did not know that the minor Blood Demon body separating great art could suppress the Blood Demons, and could ignite the Blood Demon Zhen Yuan inside their bodies. Without exaggeration, although Yi Chen was not a top astral reaching realm warrior, he could beat top high-rank Blood Demons. Killing them would not be impossible. Take us out. A lot of people's eyes brightened. They had been trapped in the fortress for too long. Although they could trade for food every time, they could not eat and drink as much as they wanted. Plus, some of them had families, so they missed them very much. Su Lan said excitedly, "Yu Chen, you can take us out." Yu Chen said, "Of course, but you have to come in batches. If you bring too many, I can't guarantee your safety. You all know how scary the blood demons are. No hurry. As long as we can get out, it doesn't matter if we stay a bit longer." This barbecue went on for a whole day. On the second day, Yu Chen led the first group of people and flew towards the nearest conveyor door. After killing a lot of blood demons and a powerful high-rank blood demon, the first group of people left smoothly. Then came the second group. The third group, after a week, all of the astral reaching realm warriors who wanted to leave had already left. The rest were either people who did not want to leave or people who had just gotten in. The news of me killing Jin Huang should have already spread out. I wonder what kind of astral reaching realm warriors the floating mountain martial school would send to deal with me. I have to reach the mid-astral reaching realm as soon as possible. Only then would I have the power to protect myself. Yu Chen did not dare to relax. There were a lot of astral reaching realm warriors in rank 6 martial schools, and there would be a lot of top astral reaching realm warriors as well. If there were only 1 or 2 of them, he might still be able to escape. But if there were more than 2, then it would be extremely dangerous. And this was without the possibility of an extreme astral reaching realm warrior. Otherwise, an extreme astral reaching realm warrior would be enough to kill him. Chapter 339. There were many artifacts in the blood demon battlefield. One could obtain at least 1 or 2 low-grade artifacts almost every day. After so many days, Yu Chen's storage ring had accumulated dozens of low-grade artifacts. There were blades, spears, swords, staffs, hammers, pikes, short pikes, and all sorts of artifacts. If sold, Yu Chen's low-grade spirit stones would increase by at least 600,000 to 700,000. In terms of earning spirit stones, even peak 7th grade sects couldn't compare to him. Of course, the stronger one was, the easier it was to earn spirit stones. In the blood demon battlefield, Yu Chen couldn't say that he could walk sideways, but he could walk straight without any problems. The others who followed Yu Chen all had their own harvests. Each of them had several low-grade artifacts, which was equivalent to their harvest in several months. More importantly, they used to earn spirit stones with their lives. But now, as long as their luck wasn't too bad, the chances of them dying were very small. However, the artifacts in the blood demon battlefield were not inexhaustible. After a period of time, low-grade artifacts had become rare. Only battle experience continued to increase. There are many low-grade artifacts, but only 3 mid-grade artifacts. The first 2 are the axe and the streamlight armor, and the last one is the purple gold mace. Seems like getting a mid-grade sword won't be that easy. In the room, Yu Chen put away the axe and the purple gold mace, then shook his head. With a mid-rank great sword, Yu Chen's attacking power would be able to compete with top astral reaching realm warriors. Even if the other top astral reaching realm warriors also had mid-rank great weapons, at least he wouldn't have to worry about their weapons being damaged. For a sword artist, not having a sword was a very serious problem, and it was also something that Yu Chen had been worrying about. Forget it, let's go barbecue first. Opening the door, Yu Chen shockingly lived on the 4th floor of the Demon Resistance Fortress. After defeating Ice Blade, everyone believed that Yu Chen had the qualifications to live on the 4th floor. Yu Chen, on the other hand, didn't care about this. The 4th floor of the Demon Resistance Fortress was empty. After Ice Blade left, there was not a single person. Living here was no big deal. On the metal floor, Red North Duo and the others were already barbecuing. The aroma of meat and wine mixed together, pervading the entire Demon Resistance Fortress. Yu Chen, come quickly, the barbecue is done. Yu Chen walked down and smiled. Debay, You guys can really eat. Big North was the eldest of the Red North duo, and the second was called Little North. Both of them had the word North in their names, and their hometown was also in the same place, Red Valley City, so they were called the Red North duo by the martial artists in the pugilistic world. Big North was in his 40s this year, and looked very sturdy. Before you came, we ate rice every day, and it was tasteless. I didn't expect you to have so many kinds of dried meat in your storage ring. Hee, just in case. Yi Qin had 2 low-rank storage rings that were used to store all kinds of food, which were piled up to the brim. Picking up a piece of roasted meat and munching on it, Yi Qin suddenly had an idea. He asked, "You guys have been roaming around the Blood Demon battlefield for so long. Do you know any places with more prized artifacts? Mid-grade prized artifacts?" Crimson North duo's complexion changed. Lil Bei solemnly said, "I know a place where there is a high chance of obtaining a suitable mid-grade treasure." "Oh. Where is it?" Yi Chen's spirit was roused. That place is located at the center of the Blood Demon battlefield, as well as the center of the 3 demon-defying fortresses. It's called the Mass Burial Mound. Many astral-reaching experts have died there. As for why there are so many artifacts there, it's mainly because a super war happened there in the ancient era. Thousands of astral-reaching experts participated in the war. In the following years, many astral-reaching experts went there to search for treasures. Some of them were killed, but their artifacts were also left there. In this cycle, the number of artifacts inside has not decreased. Yi Qin understood Big North's meaning. The artifacts of the ancient era were certainly unusable in the present era. However, more and more people went there to search for treasures. Leaving their artifacts inside would only attract more people, just like a rolling snowball. Of course, the majority of artifacts were trash, and there was nothing that could be done about it. "Why didn't you tell me before?" Yi Qin asked curiously. Little North smiled bitterly. "It's not that I didn't want to tell you. It's just that it's a dangerous place. If the Blood Demon battlefield is a place of death, then the danger of that place is several times higher. Moreover, I've never been there before, so I don't know the specifics. I was afraid that if I told you, it would harm you. Many thanks for telling me." Yi Qin smiled. He had never been afraid of danger, not to mention that this danger was within his tolerance range. Big North tore off a piece of meat and said vaguely, "You really want to go? That place is called the Mass Burial Mound, and it's not just for show." "I'll definitely go, but not now." Yi Qin had his own plans. Recently, the bottleneck of mid-astral reaching realm had loosened, and he planned to use this opportunity to break through. With a mid-astral reaching realm cultivation base, there would be very few things in the Blood Demon battlefield that could threaten him. There was no day or night in the Blood Demon battlefield. After eating the barbecue, Yi Qin looked at the unique scenery on the balcony, relaxing his mind. The Earth Astral Pill isn't that important in breaking through realms, but I still have to take it. Only by relying on the Earth Astral Pill's medicinal power can I have a chance of breaking through to mid-astral reaching realm. Otherwise, I'll have to wait a bit longer. If Yi Chen's body was a bottle, then the green lotus Xin Yuan would be like the water in the bottle. Now that the water was full, it would be impossible to continue filling it. Only by making the bottle bigger could it hold more water. Yi Qin did the opposite and prepared to continue filling the bottle with water. Once the bottle became bigger, he would naturally break through to mid-astral reaching realm. Doing this would be very dangerous. His body might explode, and even if it didn't, it would leave behind serious injuries. Very few people would choose to use this method to speed up their breakthroughs. It was truly not worth it. My body's strength has already reached the limits of astral reaching realm experts. There shouldn't be too much danger. I just don't know if I can succeed or not. Yi Qin dared to do this because he had his own confidence. First of all, the bottleneck had already loosened, and was not unbreakable. Secondly, his body was very powerful, and could endure the majority of the backlash. Failure wouldn't affect him much, but success would allow him to enter mid-astral reaching realm in advance. Let's begin. Letting out a breath, Yichen returned to the cultivation room. The milky white radiance had a calming effect. Yichen quickly calmed his mind. He took out an earth astral pill glowing with starlight and swallowed it without a second thought. Gurgle gurgle, the moment the earth astral pill came in contact with the green lotus Xin Yuan, it immediately dissolved, transforming into waves of tyrannical medicinal power that surged forth like a torrential river. Refine. The surging green lotus Xin Yuan wrapped around the earth astral pill's medicinal power, forcibly refining it. After an unknown amount of time, Yichen's body started to swell a bit. This feeling is like an inflated balloon. No wonder not many people dare to try. After refining the entire earth astral pill's medicinal power, the Xin Yuan in Yichen's body could no longer be described as surging. It was extremely berserk, sweeping out from time to time. At this moment, his powerful soul power played an absolute role, forcibly suppressing the green lotus Xin Yuan, not letting it run amok. Second Earth Astral Pill. Taking out the second Earth Astral Pill, Yichen swallowed it without the slightest hesitation. Creak. Yichen's body started to swell a bit. Third. Fourth. The fourth Earth Astral Pill was only half refined, and Yichen was like a barrel of gunpowder that could explode at any time. Astonishing Xin Yuan ripples filled the cultivation room, unable to be transmitted out. Ah! Compress. The might of his soul power exploded to the limit. Blue veins popped out on Yichen's forehead as he commanded the green lotus Xin Yuan to compress and fuse. Pang! Suddenly, a small explosion occurred on Yichen's left side. It turned out to be a mass of berserk green lotus Xin Yuan leaking out and exploding. Fortunately, the milky white light could annihilate energy and impurities, and had little effect on Yichen. Otherwise, even his own Xin Yuan would have been blasted away and suffered some shock. As if that mass of berserk green lotus Xin Yuan was superfluous, the following process went a lot smoother. At least, Yichen felt the pressure on his soul power lessen a bit. Time passed day by day. In the blink of an eye, it was the fourth day. Buzz. The Xin Yuan ripples in the cultivation room were extremely powerful, giving rise to raging waves. This was still because of the isolation of the cultivation room. The milky white light suppressed the Xin Yuan ripples. Otherwise, everyone in the Demon Defiance Fortress would know that Yichen had broken through. Slowly opening his eyes, a tyrannical light flickered in Yichen's eyes. The light was like a sharp sword, incomparably sharp. Opening his palm, Yichen forcefully clenched it. Dong! A muffled sound resounded in the air. Yichen's palm seemed to have exploded a small bomb. I've finally broken through to mid-astral reaching realm. The danger is a bit dangerous, but the harvest is frightening. I've saved at least a month or two. As far as Yichen was concerned, time was life. There were more than one or two people who wanted him dead. Standing up, Yichen muttered to himself, after entering astral reaching realm, I'm a peak astral reaching expert. No, I'm a bit more tyrannical than ordinary peak astral reaching experts. At the peak of early astral reaching realm, I could contend against Ice Blade. Now, my Xin Yuan's quality and quantity have greatly increased, and my battle power has increased by more than 30%. Moreover, it's an all-round improvement. With the increase of realm, one's battle power could directly increase, but with the increase of attack power, the increase of battle power was limited. The two were completely different concepts. Pushing open the door of the cultivation room, Yichen walked out. Now it's time to go to the mass grave. I wonder how many powerful experts I'll run into. Descending the stairs, Red North duo saw Yichen. Little North said in astonishment, Yichen, you've broken through. Yichen nodded. Gasp. The two sucked in a breath of cold air. Before breaking through, Yichen was already frightening enough. Now that he had broken through, wasn't he even more frightening? Tell me the location of the mass grave. The blood demon battlefield was huge, and Yichen didn't know the specific location of the mass grave. Alright. Knowing the location of the mass grave, Yichen urged his Jin Yuan and flew into the distance, not concealing his aura in the slightest. Chapter 340. Mass Burial Mound. The most dangerous place in the blood demon battlefield was also the place with the most treasures. It was not that big, only a few thousand miles in radius. The terrain inside was strange, with bones everywhere. Because people had been trying to find treasures, they had opened up countless tunnels. These tunnels crisscrossed, running through the underground. It was hundreds of times more complicated than the most complicated maze. Although most of the astral reaching realm warriors knew that there were a lot of treasures in the mass burial mound, and that there was a 50% chance of getting a mid-rank treasure, there were not many people who dared to go. It was simply too dangerous. If 4 or 5 people went, perhaps only one would make it back alive. It was a dangerous place with only 4 or 5 people going. Of course, the temptation of the treasures was too big. Some of the weaker astral reaching realm warriors would try their luck there. But, there were too few of them. Those who had the confidence to go to the mass burial mound were basically the more powerful late astral reaching realm warriors. Besides them, the top astral reaching realm warriors had chosen the mass burial mound as a must-go place. For them, the mass burial mound was only a small dangerous place. As for extreme astral reaching realm warriors, they were rarely seen in the whole South Rudra region. They did not lack mid-rank treasures, so naturally, they would not go there. All in all, the mass burial mound was a place for the top astral reaching realm warriors. Shoo! In the sky, a blue shadow streaked across at an extreme speed. From time to time, there would be blood light shooting up into the sky. However, without exception, they were all killed by the sword chi. When I was at peak level early astral reaching realm, I could already fight against ice sky. Now that I have reached the mid astral reaching realm, most of the top astral reaching realm warriors would not be my opponent. However, the situation in the mass burial mound is quite complicated. There might be a couple of top astral reaching realm warriors working together. I still have to be careful. In the battle for treasures, it would be fine if there were only 2 people. But once there were a lot of people, a couple of people against one would definitely happen. This was a blood-red world. The clouds in the sky were so red that they looked like they were about to drip blood. The ground was full of holes, and there were many broken stone tablets stuck in the ground. The smallest of them was 7 to 8 meters tall, while the tallest one was hundreds of meters tall. They were covered in blood stains, and filled with evil chi. Caw! Caw! A few crows flew past. Unlike ordinary crows, the crows here were blood crows, the same race as blood devils. They lived by devouring blood essence. Puchi. Subconsciously, he did not want to provoke this person, so he did not need the blood demon's reminder. Glancing over the blood sword artist, Master Blood Demon's vision landed on a tall and sturdy man, Ghost Bear, the leader of the bandits in the Star Lake Black Dragon Empire. He has a large group of astral reaching realm warriors and a lot of underlings. He is also a top astral reaching realm warrior himself. We can pull him into our ranks. It does not seem that easy. Our 9 ghost cult used to be unparalleled in the past, but now, everyone wants to kill us. Not many people would dare to join us. Everything depends on effort. How would you know if you do not try? The day the leader returns will be the day the South Rudra region becomes the new leader. The blood demon's body emitted a soul-stirring domineering aura. The corpse man was secretly shocked. The top astral reaching realm warriors were not only the blood demon, but also the blood sword artist and the ghost bear. On the ground between the steels, there were many different sized tunnels. Right then, a large group of people rushed out. Among them, there were a couple of people with horrifying auras, which were comparable to the blood demon and the other 2. Boom! After a while, beams of blood-colored light shot up into the sky. These light beams appeared from the underground passageway, and they were shot out from the ground. Every 3 days, the blood devil baleful chi will erupt. Those who are infected by the blood devil baleful chi will fall into an illusion of slaughter, unable to extricate themselves. The blood devil baleful chi is no exception. Now that the blood devil baleful chi has appeared, we will be safe for the next 3 days. Waiting until the light beams disappeared, the blood demon's body flashed, flying into the nearest tunnel. The corpse man and the blood demon doppelganger followed closely behind. Go in. The blood sword artist and the ghost bear jumped in. As for the people who had just come out, some of them went back to the Demon Defiance Fort, while others rested for a bit before continuing to enter the tunnel. Soon, there was no one above the burial mound. Shoo! Landing on the 7 meters tall steel, Yi-Chin frowned slightly. Just as the Red North duo had said, there were countless tunnels in this place. People who came here for the first time would definitely be hesitant, since the underground was not like the surface. Hee, I did not expect to meet a newbie here. All of a sudden, a rock behind Yi-Chin vibrated, turning into a human shape. It was an astral-reaching realm warrior who was good at disguising. Without thinking, he threw a deadly attack toward Yi-Chin. Didn't anyone tell you that the people who come here are not normal people? Turning around, Yi-Chin pointed out his finger. Shoo! The cloth-like green lotus sword chi pierced through the warrior's head, causing a blood mist to burst out. How is this possible? You are obviously a mid-astral reaching realm warrior. He still could not understand how Yi-Chen's battling power could be this powerful. His right hand made a grabbing gesture, and the warrior's storage ring landed in his hand. Without looking at it, Yi-Chen flashed his body and disappeared into the tunnel 10 meters away. Powerful. Fortunately, I was far away, and could not assassinate him in time. Otherwise, I would be the one dead. On a slope far away, the soil split open, and a human figure rose up. He looked at the place where Yi-Chen had disappeared, and thought to himself that he was lucky. Yi-Chen's cultivation base and battling power were not comparable, which made him easy to be overlooked. And, the consequence of being overlooked would be his life. Ah! Traveling through the pitch-black tunnel, Yi-Chen could already hear the sounds of fighting. After a few blinks of an eye, a scream was heard, and the underground returned to silence. Every step in this place is dangerous. Not only do I have to guard against the sneak attacks from the top astral-reaching realm warriors, I have to guard against the blood demons as well. They are the true masters of this place. Wearing the star scar sword on his waist, Yi-Chen released his soul power. Everything within 500 meters was under his control. Once there was a slight movement, he would be able to sense it immediately. Woo woo woo! A ghostly wail and wolf howl was heard as a few bloodlights converged from 500 meters away. High-rank blood demons, a bit strange. Blood demons were good at sneak attacks, and there were very few examples of them attacking humans head-on. These high-rank blood demons seemed to be afraid of not being noticed, so they did not hide their aura at all, and even let out a mournful roar. Yi-Chen's goal this time was to find a mid-rank great sword. He did not want to be entangled with the blood demons, so he flew down the tunnel. Shoo! Sword light flashed. The high-rank blood demons blocking his way were sliced into dozens of pieces. Gradually, Yi-Chen arrived at a depth of 1,000 meters. Before he could do anything, an intense battle came from above. The earth shook, and the mountains shook. Mud and rocks flowed down, flooding the tunnels one after another. Bang! A huge chunk of mud was thrown at Yi-Chen. Break! The sword light flashed, and the mud chunk was cut in half. There are treasures inside. Once the mud chunk was separated, countless rays of light could be seen, as if it was embedded with hundreds of bright gems. There are a few mid-rank treasures. Easily distinguishing the aura of the mid-rank treasures, Yi-Chen reached out his hand to suck. Courting death. How dare you steal our things? Two human figures shot down from above, each throwing an ace attack at Yi Qin. The destructive shockwave collapsed countless tunnels. Using the separating shadow flying art, Yi Qin dodged as he raised his head. The first one that entered his eyes was a tall and sturdy middle-aged man, carrying a frightening evil aura. The other one was a short old man with wrinkled skin, looking like dried tree bark. Not bad, but your luck is bad. The old man stared at Yi Qin with evil intentions. He and Ghost Bear had fought over the mud chunk containing many treasures. He did not expect that Yi Qin would appear down there. Unfortunately, he and Ghost Bear were both top astral reaching experts. Killing Yi Qin would only take a few moves. Chapter 341. Perhaps you two are just unlucky. Yi Qin's expression was indifferent. Hee, are the young generation all this arrogant nowadays? Ghost Bear turned his head and glanced at the elder, Old Zhu. He doesn't even put us in his eyes. Old Zhu laughed. Ghost Bear, you and I will take care of him first, then we'll decide who these weapons belong to. What do you think? That would be for the best. These weapons won't be able to run away anyway. Ghost Bear smiled coldly as the huge axe in his hand ignited with a raging flame. This was a fire attribute mid-grade weapon. Under the activation of Zhen Yuan, waves of powerful pressure spread out. Die! Taking a step forward, Ghost Bear fiercely chopped at Yi Qin with the axe in his hand. The berserk power suddenly sucked out the air in front of him. Qin! Yi Qin's sword left its scabbard. The sword light flashed, shaking the void. How did Ghost Bear get here? How did he get back? His hand felt numb. You pushed me back. Ghost Bear was surprised. Although he had only used 80% of his battle power, Yi Qin was only a mid-astral reaching expert. He could kill one with one axe. Kid, interesting. Take my axe cleaving river. The axe was thrown out, and the air was like a raging river, splitting in two as a huge axe light smashed over. Comparing battle power, you are only at the same level as Ice Blade. Piss off. Holding the Star Scar sword, Yi Qin counterattacked with an even more ferocious manner. The sword light imprinted with sky-opening green lotus shattered the axe light and landed heavily on Ghost Bear's protective Zhen Yuan. Pooh! Spurting out a mouthful of blood, Ghost Bear was blown back in shock. This kid is troublesome. Old Zhu, let's kill him together. Ghost Bear was truly shocked. As a peak astral reaching expert, the number of people who could defeat him could be counted on one's fingers. He had never thought that he would lose to Yi Qin. It was simply unimaginable. Old Zhu was also shocked. If he had treated Yi Qin as a sheep before, then right now, the latter had already risen to the level of a wolf. Shattering heart-lung claw. Old Zhu walked the devil Dao. His body shook, and black Zhen Yuan surged like a giant black snake. He raised his gloved right hand, and three black claw lights tore through the air, attacking Yi Qin's vital points. Green Lotus Chi. With a slash of his sword, a huge illusory green lotus appeared in front of him. The green lotus expanded rapidly and hundreds of sword chi shot out, annihilating Old Zhu's claw light and enveloping the two of them. Ding ding dang dang. There were too many sword chis. Elder Zhu couldn't be bothered to attack Yi Qin. His hands danced around, forming a claw net in front of him. Phantom Bear took advantage of the fact that his axe was big enough. He slammed it against the ground and used the wide body of the axe to block the sword chi that shot at him. Brat, I admit that I have underestimated you. The air became motionless, and Ghost Bear's axe light seemed to have slowed down a lot, moving towards Yi Qin bit by bit. Meanwhile, Yi Qin's sword light was like a spark, dazzling to the extreme. Rumble. The passage behind Yi Qin shattered and melted, and a light sword scar appeared on Ghost Bear's right arm. What? He dodged my killing move. Ghost Bear seemed to have sensed something and was astonished. Entering the astral reaching realm, mentalities were quite important. Most people studied the mentalities of nature, such as metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, and so on. Although the illusory mentalities could be comprehended, they were extremely difficult. Among them were fast mentalities and slow mentalities. Just now, Yi Chen had clearly used slow mentalities, which had caused his thoughts to pause for a brief moment. This kid is a freak. He even comprehended slow mentalities. Ghost Bear and Old Zhu exchanged a glance. Quick. Changing from slow sword mentalities to fast sword mentalities, the flow of air accelerated. With a slight breeze, countless sword lights shot out at an extreme speed. The fast and slow transition was too quick, and the two's thoughts almost couldn't keep up. They were forced to defend passively. In these 2 years, I've never given up on comprehending fast and slow mentalities. In fact, slow and slow mentalities exist in the majority of mentalities. For example, thunder mentalities are both fast and slow. Once separated, it becomes fast and slow mentalities, which makes my comprehension even smoother. Sword lights fell like rain as Yi Chen shot out along with numerous sword lights, his frightening speed like a beam of light. Rip. Old Zhu and Ghost Bear were both injured. Chapter 342. Old Zhu, we can't beat him, but it's impossible for us to give up on so many artifacts. Let's join hands and take some of them, then retreat. Ghost Bear had to admit that Yi Chen's strength was above his and Old Zhu's. If Yi Chen were to be ranked among the top 10 astral reaching realm sword artists, he would be at least number 3. The thought of retreating appeared in his mind. Alright. Old Zhu was a peak astral reaching expert after all. Although Yi Chen was powerful, it wouldn't be that easy for him to kill them. He and Ghost Bear had only suffered some light injuries. The two didn't cultivate the same type of Zhen Yuan, but at this moment, the powerful Zhen Yuan flow still forced Yi Chen to retreat. Rise! Zhen Yuan turned into a huge hand, and the two each grabbed a piece of broken mud, which was about 20% of the total amount. Yi Chen's eyes were sharp, and he immediately saw the mid-grade artifacts in the mud. He yelled, "Stay!" The sword light slashed through, and small pieces of mud fell down along with 4 or 5 fingers of Zhen Yuan. Damn! Let's go! With their harvest reduced by half, Ghost Bear and Old Zhu were furious, but what could they do? Yi Chen's strength was right there, and he also knew the fast and slow mentality. It was not very realistic for them to join hands. If they continued to fight, the situation would be very unfavorable for them. Shwa! Shwa! A shadow flashed through, and the two escaped. They are weaker than me. 1-on-1, or 2-on-1, I would not be afraid. But, it would be hard to kill them. Top astral reaching realm warriors are not that easy to kill. Even if I perform the 8th movement of the Green Lotus sword art, the Green Lotus sprouting, it would only wound them a bit more, which would expose my ace card for no reason. Yi Chen did not chase after them, since it was more important to check the remaining 80% of the weapons first. Wrapping the mud with Zhen Yuan, Yi Chen exerted his strength. With a crashing sound, the mud shattered, and all sorts of artifacts fell onto the ground, forming a pile. No need to look at the low-grade artifacts. Put them away first. Yi Chen was concerned about the mid-grade artifacts. Low-grade artifacts were no different from low-grade spirit stones to him, and were considered his personal wealth. After putting away the low-grade artifacts, all that remained were mid-grade artifacts. There were 7 of them in total. A mid-grade treasure sword. Yi Chen immediately saw the black sheathless heavy sword among the 7 mid-grade treasured weapons. But in the next moment, Yi Chen was dumbfounded. The black heavy sword fell into his hands, and as soon as he poured his true essence into it, the heavy sword collapsed into a brilliant light. Too much time has passed. Even the middle-grade swords have decayed. Yi Chen was very regretful. Aside from the black heavy sword, there were 4 other mid-grade artifacts that had decayed. Counting all of them, there were only 2 mid-grade artifacts that could actually be used. If nothing unexpected happened, then the low-grade artifacts would have decayed even more. After all, in terms of durability, low-grade artifacts were much worse than mid-grade artifacts. The 2 usable mid-grade artifacts were the golden gauntlets and the eyebrows iron staff. The golden gauntlets were perfect for Su Jing, so Yi Chen planned to leave them for her. Once she reached the astral reaching realm, she would not need to look for a suitable mid-grade artifact anymore. After checking everything, Yi Chen let out a breath. There were still too few sword artists on this true spirit continent, and mid-grade great swords were relatively rare as well. Among the top 6 rank 6 martial institutions, only the Fire Spirit Palace seemed to have a weapon master who knew how to make great artifacts. He had never heard of any master from the Fire Spirit Palace having a mid-grade great artifact, and even a lot of the inner masters did not have one. It was not hard to imagine how hard it would be to make one. Most of the time, it could only be provided for a small number of people. With a mid-grade great sword, I would have a higher chance of killing a top astral reaching realm warrior. It would be a necessity for me right now. A thought flashed through his mind as Yi Chen flew deeper into the ground. Damn! All of them are useless. Only one low-grade artifact is still intact. Somewhere in the complicated tunnel, Ghost Bear cursed. Old Zhu's expression was also not that good. This time, not only did he not get any mid-grade artifacts, even the low-grade ones that he got were basically useless. Ghost Bear, I have to admit that we have been messed up this time. I wonder where that brat came from. Old Zhu said with a low voice. Putting away the only intact low-grade artifact, Ghost Bear said with hatred, no matter who he is, he has messed with me. I will make him die sooner or later. Die without a body. You? Old Zhu said with a sarcastic tone. Ghost Bear stared at him. What? You dare to look down on me? Don't forget that he is only around 20 years old. If I have guessed it right, this brat should be Yi Chen, who was famous in the Hidden Dragon ancient city 2 years ago. Among all the contestants, only that Yi Chen has the same age as this brat. We all know Xikong Sheng, and he is even older. Besides him, there are not many young warriors who could make it. Yi Chen. The Yi Chen who was able to fight against early astral reaching realm warriors when he was only at late clasping Yuan realm? Ghost Bear was a bit surprised. There were a lot of astral reaching realm warriors that went to the Hidden Dragon ancient city, but compared to all the astral reaching realm warriors in the whole South Rudra region, it was not even 1/10 of them. Therefore, there were a lot of people who did not know about Yi Chen. Most of them had only heard of his name. Right then, hearing Old Zhu, Ghost Bear also thought that this person must be Yi Chen, the martial genius who had made all the other martial geniuses in the whole South Rudra region pale. Think about it, he is only at mid-astral reaching realm, and he already has the power to beat us. If he continues to improve, then even extreme astral reaching realm warriors might not be able to beat him. Ghost Bear controlled his anger. Old Zhu, what do you think we should do? We can't just take a loss and pretend that nothing happened. I, Ghost Bear, am not that stupid. No need to rush. Even if we rush, it will not help. The most important thing right now is to increase our power. Once we have a good mid-rank artifact, we can discuss how to deal with him. Ghost Bear lacked a mid-rank defensive artifact, while Old Zhu did not even have one. But, he had reached the peak level late astral reaching realm longer than Ghost Bear, so his Zhen Yuan was more abundant. His achievement in the poetic perspective was also higher than Ghost Bear's. Therefore, judging on overall power, the two were almost the same. Wow, you two must be escaping from a disaster, right? Look so messed up. A sword light flashed past from the top of the tunnel as a human figure flew down. Blood sword. Old Zhu's pupils shrank. Even top astral reaching realm warriors had different levels. For example, Yi Chen was one of the more powerful top astral reaching realm warriors, and this blood sword was also one of them. Blood Sword glanced at Ghost Bear and Old Zhu, feeling a bit surprised. The two had blood stains on them, and their clothes were torn. They must have been through a huge battle. But, it seemed like the battle was not between the two of them. Otherwise, they would not need to stand together and talk. Who had wounded them? The strength of these two people was only slightly inferior to his. Blood Sword, you have both a mid-rank defensive artifact and a mid-rank attacking artifact. It seems like there is no need for you to come here, right? Ghost Bear looked at Blood Sword with fear. Blood Sword chuckled, I have nothing better to do, so I came here to kill some people. You too, please be careful. If I run into you alone, I might kill you. Hunting top astral reaching realm warriors must be interesting. Ha! Although you are more powerful than us, it is impossible for you to kill us. Plus, there is still Master Blood Demon in the grave. I don't think I need to explain his power, right? It would be extremely difficult for top astral reaching realm warriors to kill warriors at the same level. It was an undeniable fact. Therefore, top astral reaching realm warriors all had a certain pride. They would not give in to anyone, and it would be impossible for them to be afraid of anyone. My sword art has improved recently, and I am looking for someone to test it on. I will fight with Master Blood Demon sooner or later. You too, goodbye. A blood shadow flashed, and Blood Sword disappeared from their sight. Let's go as well. The two did not say anything about separating. For them, working together would be better than fighting alone. One was Yi Chen, one was Blood Sword, and the other was Master Blood Demon. All of them were powerful figures. There were countless underground passages in the mass grave, and it was 100 times more complicated than an ant's nest. Because it was too complicated, there would be human warriors who would choose to open up new passages at any time, making the underground environment even more complicated and confusing. It was impossible to tell which passage was which. Boom! An explosion sound was heard from deep underground. There is fighting sound, and the chi vibration of a mid-rank artifact. It is so powerful. What kind of mid-rank artifact is this? Yi Chen was shocked. He took out his longsword and cut open the ground under his feet. He then activated his protective Zhen Yuan and rushed down. 2,000 meters underground, 5 to 6 people were battling. Bastard! We found this sword first. Piss off. Who do you think you are? Treasures belong to the right people. You guys do not deserve it. You are looking for death. Kill. I am afraid of you. Kill them. All of the people battling were late astral reaching realm warriors. There were only 2 of them, but there was a top astral reaching realm warrior among them. He was fighting against 3 of them, and was not at a disadvantage at all. Swoosh! The tunnel above them cracked open, and a blue shadow fell down. It was indeed Yi Chen. His eyes scanned through the 2 battling parties and landed on a blood-red rock. There was a sword hilt on the surface of the rock, and the chi vibration of a mid-rank artifact was coming from it. The chi vibration is 3 times more powerful than a normal mid-rank artifact. It must be a top-rank artifact. No, it is said that top-rank artifacts will have a strange phenomenon. Although the chi vibration of this sword is powerful, it does not have any strange phenomenon. It should be a special mid-rank great sword. Yi Chen's eyes were burning with passion. Crack! The tunnel nearby shattered all of a sudden, and a man in black robes with a ghost face mask walked out. Behind him were the man in blood robes and a top-rank blood demon. It's you. The man in black robes immediately noticed Yi Chen and said hatefully. Yi Chen's expression was indifferent. Ghost corpse man, long time no see. This time, no one can save you. What a big tone. You even dare to speak arrogantly in front of me, Master Blood Demon. Master Blood Demon had guessed Yi Chen's identity. His face was full of disdain as he caressed the storage ring on his right hand with his left hand, as if Yi Chen was already his prey. So you are Master Blood Demon. I have long wanted to meet you. Also, many thanks for your minor blood demon body separating great art. It has helped me a lot. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.